Hello, welcome to VeriAccount's podcast on forensic accounting, hidden assets, and fraud detection. My name is Queretta Sims, and I'm your host, owner of VeriAccount. And today we will have these discussions with Miss Jill York on forensic accounting, hidden assets, and fraud detection. I would like to introduce our guest, Jill York of Red Flag Financial Forensics, based in Morganton, North Carolina. Jill is the Chief Financial Examiner at Red Flag and is a certified fraud examiner, certified management accountant, a chartered life underwriter, and a North Carolina certified paralegal. She has had extensive experience in dealing with fraud and hidden assets as they relate to estates, family law, and small businesses. Hello, Jill. Would you kindly share the incentives for Red Flag Financial Forensic Services?
Red Flag Financial Forensics works with VeriAccounts in a variety of ways that include forensic accounting, fraud detection, and hidden assets. Most people aren't really sure of what that means, but at its core, it's pretty simple. We research financial and other types of records to see if you are owed money. And so, what does that look like in practice? Well, let's say that you're about to get a divorce and your spouse has a separate bank account that you know nothing of. That could be a problem when making out a separation agreement because you put all your cards on the table and your soon to be ex spouse does not. If you have any concerns that he or she may not be being honest with you, there are ways to find hidden bank accounts, falsified tax returns, cash stashed in lockboxes, etc. Or another example would be if you're the plaintiff in a civil lawsuit. Even if you win the lawsuit and get a judgment for a certain amount, now you need to collect on that judgment. And sometimes the defendant will lie about or try and shift assets around to avoid detection. We can track down those assets, including bank accounts, real estate, life insurance, etc., both before a lawsuit to see if it's even worth pursuing, as well as afterwards to help in the collection phase. To give you an example of how important this work can be, I worked on a case that came up several years ago after the couple divorced. While they were still married, one of the spouse was having his spouse sign tax returns that he eventually discarded and then forged a different set of returns that he filed. When we were able to get a hold of the copies of the real returns, we were able to take what seemed to be an insignificant amount of interest noted on one of the schedules and back into a hidden bank account of over $400,000. We've also had clients that have come to us with a whole variety of scams, from the internet to phone solicitors. And some of the scams were actually quite sophisticated in nature. Unfortunately, many of them are crafted by groups of individuals in foreign countries that pose as a single individual on Facebook or other social media. On one occasion, we had a long line of women who had fallen in love with the same man on Facebook. There was a unique scam that was perpetrated on each one of them, and each had lost over $20,000, with some of the women a multiple of that. It turned out that this fictitious man was actually a group of individuals in Nigeria that were courting each one of my clients. But these are all negative examples of hidden assets. There is a flip side to hidden assets as well that is absolutely wonderful. You see, there are errors and inefficiencies in accounting all around us, and sometimes a company tries to send us a refund where they've mistyped the address on the envelope and it never reaches us. Sometimes we move. And then there's the idyllic situation of a long lost relative who passes away and leaves us money, but no one can find us. Does this all sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. So what happens to all this money? Who gets it? Well, the state does. And I'm going to tell you how to find out if you are owed money and how to get it back. I've used this method to get people tens of thousands of dollars over the years, and I'd love to help you too. So make sure you've got a pen and paper, and here we go. List all of the states where you have ever lived, and then list all the names you've ever used. This could include past married names, your maiden name, so on and so forth. Now, what you are going to do next is to type into Google in the search bar escheat for the estate of, and type in one of the names of the estate, the states where you have lived. Now, escheat, spelled E as in Edward, S as in Sam, C as in cat, H as in Harry, E as in Edward, A as in Apple, T as in Tom, is the term used when monies that aren't able to find their owner are turned over to this state. By law, companies and government agencies are required to turn over these types of the funds to the state. And all you have to do is look up all the possible variations of your name in each state. And you might be really surprised at what you find. Most of the time, it's just enough to go have a nice dinner, but sometimes it's much more than that. And if you do find your name on the list, there's often an indication of how much money it is, like under $100 or over $100. And there will be directions on the site for how you claim your money. It might require a copy of your driver's license or proof of a prior address. One caveat, however, when you search the Google escheat for the estate of, you'll find many websites claiming to be able to search all these state websites at once. Don't believe it. Go right to the official state's website to do your research. You'll have much better results, I guarantee it. It's my hope that this piece of information will bring you some extra cash during these difficult times. However, if you should ever find yourself in the situation where you don't know where to turn because something doesn't look right or sound right in a relationship where finances are concerned, here is my advice. Always trust your gut. Often our subconscious picks up on things that the conscious does not, or the conscious may reason away an odd tone of voice or an inconsistent story. Don't ignore the signs.
Thank you, Jill, for that information. VeriAccount provides a range of accounting and auditing services to assist you in detecting fraud.
Ms. Sims, I believe that VeriAccount does a wonderful job auditing and keeping all parties on track. But sometimes issues go beyond sloppy bookkeeping or minor transgressions. Sometimes issues cross over into criminal fraudulent behavior. And when this happens, VeriAccount will work in conjunction with Red Flag Financial Forensics to assess the situation. Going after criminal fraudulent behavior is a tough job. And as with any job, the right tools are necessary. When it comes to fraud and how to fix it, it takes a specialist. It takes someone who knows how to integrate timelines with financial documents and even the knowledge of fraudster personality. And eventually, they'll be able to find out where the ill-gotten gains are hidden. We have the resources at hand to quickly assess the severity of a case and the knowledge to go where to go with the evidence.
Thank you, Jill, so very much. Just as a reminder, VeriAccount offers three ongoing programs to assist in various phases of our lives. Starting with students, we have the Aspire program, which is to assist with college students to monitor their spending habits. Achieve program is meant for the individuals who do not enjoy tracking their own finances but would still like to be financially successful. And finally, we have the Enjoy program, which is to assist individuals and their families with bill payment and financial protective services for those who are disabled or aging in place. Please listen for upcoming announcements for the Heroes programs to serve veterans. Thank you for listening in today on VeriAccount's podcast on forensic accounting, hidden assets, and fraud detection. If you would like any of these services or additional services, please feel free to visit www.veriaccount.com.